Well, the Landon Dickerson injury news just dropped, and it's a tad confusing. As the Birds star guard is going to miss time, the question is how much and who will the Birds use to replace him? Plus, Vic Fangio's take on Philadelphia's struggling corners, and why DeVonta Smith and Jihaad Dotson sent a message during Eagles open practice. Thomas Mott, this is the Thomas Mott Show. Instead of recapping a very exciting open practice at Linc Financial Field on Sunday night, all Bird fans, including myself, have collectively been holding our breaths for an update on Eagles starting left guard Landon Dickerson, who went down on this play during the final 10 minutes of practice and to gingerly walk off the field before being carted into the locker room. And well, here's what we know as of filming this on a Monday afternoon. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, dropped just now, Landon Dickerson is thought to have suffered a meniscus injury to his right knee and is now getting additional options to determine the next course of action and how long he will be sidelined. And I know it's not the best news, but there is some hope here, more on that in a second, so cheer people up. I'm giving away 2 tickets to an Eagles game of your choice, plus some signed Eagles gear as well when I hit 100K subs, which is less than 300 subscribers away. So what we're going to do, drop a like down below and comment "get well soon" or prayers up for Landon Dickerson to make sure you guys are entered for that giveaway. Now, a couple of things here. This to me is really neither good or bad news. Obviously, the best case scenario we were all hoping for was a simple sprain or something minor, but at least the worst case of an Achilles or ACL has been ruled out according to Schefter. Which, by the way, I have seen some people claim that Jihaad Campbell was the reason Landon Dickerson got injured on this play, but Landon passed Jihaad off to Mailata, and then, despite the blurry footage we see here, seems to have simply stepped on Jordan's foot, causing his right knee to suffer the injury. Clearly not Campbell's or really anybody else's fault, just a freak issue that happens in the NFL. Stop blaming the rookie. But the whole problem is, Adam Schefter's update just now does not give us clear indication on how long Landon Dickerson is going to be out, because meniscus tears can be anything from short to medium to done for the entire season. It's not so black and white. For example, Vikings rookie quarterback J.J. McCarthy tore his meniscus during preseason last year, which did require surgery, ending his entire season before week 1 ever started. But then there's Jalen Ramsey, who suffered a torn meniscus in camp in 2023, but he only missed 5 months, returning in early November and playing football that same season. What matters right now is the severity and I guess the treatment. As Pro Football Doc David Chow noted on Twitter today, a trim means plus or minus 6 weeks out. Meniscus repair means 4 to 6 months. That was J.J. McCarthy last season. Treatment depends on the type of tear. So right now, we don't know the type of tear. At best, 6 weeks from today puts Dickerson back on the field towards the end of September, meaning he misses, the first 4 games? 4 months would then put him back, November, December, kind of like Jalen Ramsey. And of course, 6+ months right now would mean he's probably done for the entire year. I'd pair that with the additional factor that Landon Dickerson has torn both ACLs in the past. That could also play a role in what they decide to do in order to prevent any long-term issues for the Birds Pro Bowler. I know all of us want a hard date on when Landon Dickerson could come back, but right now, I don't think anybody knows. He likely got the initial diagnosis this morning from Philadelphia and is going to go talk to other knee doctors, maybe around the country, to confirm his best case of action, whether that's to get a full surgery, get a trim. We might not know his actual timeout for a couple of days. So I'll update you guys whenever I know, but right now, it's anyone's guess. And while I know not getting 100% clarity right now, it's frustrating. I'm with you guys. But I do think knowing it's not the Achilles or especially the ACL is a little bit of good news. However, what is 100% certain, though, is the fact that one of the best left guards in the entire NFL is going to miss time, and Philadelphia is going to have to adjust. Dickerson's been one of the best left guards in the entire league, especially this past season, garnering Pro Bowl awards and being one of the main reasons why Saquon Barkley was so successful running the football, especially to the left side in 2024. Losing 69 is not the end of the world. The Eagles' offensive line is still very good, and the offense as a whole can still fly high without one player, but it's a nasty blow nonetheless. Let's all pray for the shorter timeline here instead of the season-ending one. Also, I want to give a massive shout-out to one of my favorite sponsors on the channel, Extra. This right here is the Extra Card Wallet Pro. It's my Extra Card Wallet Pro because I've been using it every single day for the past couple of months, and this thing has been my absolute favorite wallet I've ever owned. It's insanely slim, holds up to 14 cards, and is made from 100% recycled aluminum. It also has the quick access button, which is super satisfying and makes grabbing your cards way easier than a traditional wallet. I switched this a while ago, and there's been no going back. However, Extra also sent me this, their brand new travel pack vacuum kit with the little mini handheld vacuum. This thing has been a game changer for all those trips that I take up to Philadelphia. This thing triples your packing space by compressing your clothes using a modular vacuum bags made from anti-rip nylon. You then use the included portable USB-C rechargeable air pump, which is super tiny, or any other vacuum cleaner to compress the bag. And the bags are carry-on size, waterproof, and odor-proof. That's important. They keep everything dry, organized, and clean. I used this for the first time when I went to Eagles training camp just earlier this month, and helped me be able to buy extra Eagles gear at the very end from the pro shop and fit it all inside my tiny little backpack. And right now, Extra is running their summer primetime sale, so normally you get 32% off, but use my code, linked down below in the description box, Thomas Mott, and you'll get up to 42% off. So get yourself up a wallet, get yourself the travel pack. Again, I love this thing for throwing it in my backpack, keeping things super tight and organized, and check it all out again down below in my description box. I love Extra, use it every single day. You guys should too. Now, of course, everyone keeps asking me about the options behind Landon Dickerson, and currently there really is only one, Matt Pryor, who you forgot was part of the 2018 Eagles draft class. Although technically, Pryor is more of a right guard, so for these purposes, I'd assume Tyler Steen slides from right to left guard to fill any holes. Because when Dickerson missed a few snaps last season, that's exactly what the Eagles did. Meaning Pryor would start at right guard, mainly due to his history of over 1,700 career snaps at right guard in the NFL, with just 107 at left guard. AKA, Pryor has a ton of experience moving around the offensive line. And that's why Philadelphia signed him back to the Eagles this offseason after he spent time with the Colts and 49ers before starting 15 games with the Bears in 2024. Where he did earn a 69.9 overall PFF grade among offensive linemen and graded out as the 21st best guard out of 77 possible. In fact, last year, Pryor played so well for that struggling Bears offensive line, he actually earned a performance pay bonus for his efforts. Clearly, Philadelphia wanted him this offseason, and during his most recent post-practice presser, he sounded like a guy very hungry to find a way to play games for Philadelphia this season.
I'll just say the mental aspect of it. Obviously, you come in as a rookie, you're still young. Immature, and I think, as the years went on, I kind of got a better understanding of what it is to be in the league and, what kind of mindset you have to have going into each season. And, all the hardships I've been, getting traded or, moving team to team, it kind of helps you, it fortifies your mind a bit and, you get acclimated to all the BS you deal with in the league. Obviously, like I said before, man, the goal in the league is to play. That's nobody wants to come here and just sit around. But at the same time, everybody's a good player. So it's great to have competition. It pushes you. But my goal is to play. And if I don't get that opportunity, my goal is to make sure I'm ready for when the opportunity does come and make sure it's across all lines because that's kind of been my MO, is being able to play multiple spots. So.
And going back to the Thursday night preseason opener versus the Bengals, he did play some right guard, and there's not a ton of film here, but he was pretty darn solid in run blocking from what I saw. Now, of course, to be clear, Matt Pryor is not Landon Dickerson. He is not even close, but in a next man up world, he's the best option Philadelphia has. Although, in case you were wondering, other in-house options, of course, include Brett Toth, Trevor Keegan, Darian Kennard, and the offseason trade addition, who currently is still injured, Kenyon Green. Although, of course, none of these players have flashed enough at camp so far to me to believe they have any sort of leg up on Pryor. I guess it's still early in training camp, so there's plenty of time for a change, but they do have other players. They just aren't real legit options right now. In terms of signing somebody, well, Andy DeBona's article this morning on the PhillySpecialShow.com had a few interesting names we got to at least mention, like Brandon Sheriff, Shaq Mason, and of course the ex-Eagle, Jack Driscoll. Although personally, I like the guy in Dalton Reisner, who Vic Fangio drafted with the Broncos back in 2019 and played the final 9 games for the Vikings this past season following an injury, and allowed just 1 sack and 398 pass blocking attempts. Plus, he's played over 4,500 snaps at left guard, a solid option. Now, of course, as you guys know, the Landon Dickerson news is not the only news of the day, as Philadelphia had a massive open practice at the Linc, and before the Landon Dickerson injury went down, there were some pretty darn impressive plays. Although, first off, can we just appreciate the fact that over 50,000 fans attended a 2-hour practice? Like, nowhere else in the league can a team draw this many loyal fans for simply a padded practice. To their credit, the Birds' defense, first off, put on an absolute show. The defensive line dominating the majority of the evening, as they've done pretty much all training camp long, with the usual suspects like Moro Jomo and even Gabe Hall disrupting plays and wreaking havoc in the backfield all night long. I must give a shout out to second-year defensive line coach Clint Hurt for having this extremely young D-line absolutely dialed in this early in camp.
It's not so much about one guy replacing Book, because right now all those guys are competing. It's a very deep group. So between Gabe, like with Ty, BY, all those guys are still competing for that spot. Like Book was very valuable for us last year. We hate to see him go, but those things happen. But those guys are all competing for that same spot right now.
The defensive highlight of the night was definitely this pick six by Nolan Smith of all people that was caused by the blitzing, wait for it, Jihaad Campbell right in the face of Jalen Hurts, forcing the errant throw. And yes, for those wondering, Jihaad Campbell once again flashed for all eyes to see, seemingly filling every running lane and showcasing the freaky combination of both size and athleticism that obviously has Vic Fangio so darn enamored. I do think we're getting closer and closer to Philadelphia making Jihaad Campbell the day one starter, or I guess the week one starter versus the Dallas Cowboys, because he has just been so darn athletic and so impressive. Not to say that Jeremiah Trotter Jr. has been bad. We've talked about the fact that he has done a lot, been asked to do a lot, and looks much improved from last season. But I do think when it all comes down to the end, Jihaad Campbell, whether he starts or not week 1, is going to play way more than any of us could ever imagine. Staying with the defense, and shout out to Quinyon Mitchell, who also had a pretty darn impressive day, locking up DeVonta Smith on multiple portions of 11-on-11s, and clearly showcasing why he is the #1 cornerback on this team by a long shot. I know we're all worried about the other cornerbacks on this roster, but don't forget Quinyon Mitchell is here. He looks way better than he did last season, and he's trending towards being one of the best cornerbacks in the entire league. He's had an incredible camp. Still, though, I know you want to know how the other cornerbacks looked last night, and fresh off that pretty disheartening preseason opener versus Jamar Chase, Adoree Jackson was once again the first guy up, seemingly still indicating he's leading the battle, albeit still very close. But yes, Kelee Ringo also mixed in with the ones. They were back and forth between the first team and the second team defense, and honestly, neither of them did anything special during practice, but neither really did anything bad. One thing I did find interesting, though, was that Vic Fangio mentioned after the preseason game that he intentionally put Kelee Ringo and Adoree Jackson in bad situations versus the Bengals in order to see how they would handle the pressure.
Yeah, and also to stress them, to put them in stressful situations, which are going to happen during the season and games. So I don't know how much, we played Cincinnati last year and there was no cover zero because of Chase and their receivers and their quarterback. But it's a good evaluation. Yeah, obviously they had some tough assignments in that game going against that quarterback and those receivers. But I think it's a great learning experience for both of them. And hopefully they'll both come back. Obviously, Kelee had more balls thrown his way than Adoree did. But I think it's great that happened. And we'll see how much they can grow from that.
And while no, I'm not trying to give an excuse to Kelee Ringo and Adoree Jackson, you do wonder, though, with the rest of the starters on the football field and the proper defensive play calls actually in the ear of the middle linebacker, would Adoree Jackson and Kelee Ringo have looked that bad versus the Bengals? Honestly, no way to know. I'm just kind of, trying to be a glass half full kind of guy because I'm like you. I'm worried about the other cornerback spot, but I do hope that maybe they're not as bad as we've been seeing so far once all of the defenders are actually in there and they play in a real NFL game. Of course, I can't mention Adoree Jackson and Kelee Ringo without giving you an update on Jacorian Bennett, who was out there on Sunday evening, and everyone freaked out because he, quote, got some first-team reps, but in terms of context, these were at the very end of practice, and it was not a significant amount. As the newest Birds edition, ran mainly with the third-teamers the majority of the night and spent a couple of snaps with the backups and then a few with the starters. Obviously, he simply just needs more time in the system, so his position in the depth chart at the moment is not really relevant, but if he's going to start battling for that starting spot, he needs to start climbing the depth chart sooner rather than later because the season is fast approaching.
Just throw him into the action and see what he's got.
Do you anything about him coming in, through the draft process? Did you learn anything?
I don't remember him in the draft process. Watched a little bit of his tape last year with the Raiders. He's got some good speed, got some coverability. We'll see.
Do you expect him to compete for that starting job?
Possibly. I mean, everybody's got the right to compete out here. I think we need to get his feet under him and get our eyes on him and see what happens over the next few weeks.
Most craziest time, that I've been around. But everything just kind of happened fast. I found out I was traded around like 5:36, got on the flight at 11:30, red eye, landed here at 7. So I didn't really have too much sleep on the plane to really process everything. But, man, it's a blessing to be here. And, man, I'm just trying to, I'm trying to be the best version of myself.
Now, of course, just because the defense, quote-unquote, won the evening doesn't mean the offense looked bad or didn't have its moments, with Jahan Dotson's name once again standing out, including this incredible toe tapper on the sideline. Jahan Dotson continues to have an incredible training camp, not just last night at the open practice or even his solid plays and limited snaps versus the Bengals, but overall during training camp in 2025. I personally am all on board on a Dotson breakout season simply due to the fact that he sounds so much more comfortable in this offense heading into year 2. It's just too hard to ignore.
The biggest thing for me is the playbook, right? And understanding what you're doing. And that just enables you to play that much faster. So being that I got an entire offseason here, OTAs, training camp, and learning the playbook day by day, and kind of that process slows down a little bit, but it enables you to play even faster on the field. I would say that's the biggest difference for me, and just being comfortable out here, not worrying about what split I'm in, what I'm doing, knowing exactly where I'm supposed to be, when I'm supposed to be there, and making plays.
Likewise, his wide receiver counterpart, DeVonta Smith, was probably the offensive player of the evening, connected with Jalen Hurts on this absolute dime over Cooper DeJean for a big touchdown grab. Really, the entire night on the outside was a Smitty versus Q or Coop feast for the crowd, with DeVonta winning one and then Q getting right back at him. I'm not sure DeVonta Smith can be much better than he has been to start his Eagles career, but his continued dominance, especially during training camp, has been hard to ignore, and Sunday night was no different. I'm predicting a very big year from number 6 in 2025. I think the offense as a whole is starting to trend up. The defense has been dominating so far in training camp the past couple of weeks. Not to say that the offense has been bad, but the defense has had more better days according to reports, and last Sunday night was no different. However, they did move the football. They did well in the red zone. Obviously, DeVonta Smith scored that touchdown pass. Jalen Hurts looked pretty darn good. I think Dallas Goedert said it best pre-open practice. This offense is a work in progress, but they're starting to really find their rhythm heading into week 3.
I think the offense has been doing a good job. Every day is a little bit different. Depends on what we have in for that day. But it's been really good. You know, there's days that we run the ball really well, and that's to be expected with the running back that we have and the offensive line we have. And each day it seems like the pass game's getting better and better. We're getting on the same page with Jalen, getting on the same page of what KP's asking us to do. So, you know, it's still early in camp. We still got a ways to go, but it seems like we keep improving each and every day, and that's what you want to see.
Now, as far as the rest of the injured birds, got to mention Zach Bond and A.J. Brown. Both were upgraded from out to limited during the open practice. However, both saw, as you would expect, very limited reps, with A.J. Brown hardly participating in 11-on-11s and sitting out the majority of those plays. It's good that he's back on the football field. I wish he would have actually practiced more, but it does give me hope that number 11 can be out there this week when Philadelphia takes on the Browns for back-to-back joint practices at the NovaCare Complex. Now, of course, we got plenty more updates happening the next couple of days and weeks. I know we're all down because of Landon Dickerson. I hope we get an update soon in terms of the timeline. I'll update you guys here as soon as I know something, but we're going to hold our breath and hope and pray that it's the short, 6 weeks versus the long 6 months. Either way, though, this is still a good Eagle team. They're still going to be okay. And I'm going to try to, move forward and hopefully give you guys good coverage of the Browns-Eagles open practices the next couple of days. But let's just all say a prayer to collectively hope the Eagles stay healthy the rest of training camp, right? Because one injury is one thing. A lot of injuries can derail an entire season. Let's hope everybody else stays just fine as they practice and get ready for week 1, which is, a couple of weeks away. So I'll update you guys on Landon Dickerson. I know, as far as I know, I've told you guys here, hopefully we get something soon. Landon, hope you're okay. Please come back sooner rather than later. A tough day. I'm Thomas Mott. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.